All right, strap in, everyone, because we are going deep today.
Yeah, diving deep.
Deep diving into different ways of thinking.
Okay.
Especially, when it comes to tech, but through a philosophical novel.
All right.
Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance ring a bell.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Have you read it?
I have, yeah. It's definitely...
It's not your typical...
It's not a tech manual, that's for sure.
No, not at all. But...
A novel exploring these ideas through a motorcycle trip. I'm interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
And it really kicks off with this idea of two ways of seeing, like two fundamental approaches to understanding the world.
Right.
Imagine you're faced with a tricky problem.
Yeah.
Some people dive right into the nitty-gritty, step-by-step details.
Yeah.
That's what the book calls the classic view.
Okay, so like very detail-oriented kind of a...
Yeah, exactly. Just I need to know...
Process.
The process, and then there are those who zoom out first.
Yeah, that's more me. See the big picture.
Big picture people. That's what the book calls the romantic approach.
Romantic approach, yeah.
And it's funny because the book says that most of us, we tend to lean towards one or the other.
Yeah.
And it's not that one is better, but it can definitely lead to some... clashes, especially when tech is involved.
Oh, especially when tech is involved. Wow. Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
I'm already thinking of my friends who resist every new gadget.
Right, we're the ones who stand in line for the new iPhone.
Yes, exactly. And the book brings this to life with these characters, John and Sylvia, who are very anti-technology.
Okay.
And they clash with the narrator, who is constantly
tinkering
and taking things apart. He loves it.
Yeah.
He's fascinated by how things work.
Yeah, a tinkerer.
Yeah. He's a total tinkerer. And you know what? He uses his motorcycle as a teaching tool.
Oh, as a teaching tool. That's cool.
Yeah, to illustrate all these ideas.
So that's where the whole motorcycle maintenance thing comes in.
Exactly.
It's not really about fixing motorcycles. It's about...
it's about understanding systems.
Understanding any complex system.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And there's this great scene where, John is struggling to start his motorcycle.
Yeah.
And the narrator, instead of just being like, here's what's wrong.
Yeah, just tell me what to do.
Yeah, he's like, let's figure this out.
Let's walk through.
He guides him through the process.
That's a good way to teach, yeah.
Yeah, it's about understanding the why behind something, not just blindly...
Following steps
or just treating the symptoms,
Yeah, totally. It reminds me of those times when I'm trying to fix something on my computer and I have to resist the urge to just start randomly clicking buttons,
Yes, exactly. It's like you just start clicking around.
Yeah. Hoping for the best.
You got to understand the system.
You got to understand the system.
Yeah.
And then, here's where it gets deeper.
Okay.
Deeper.
Lay it on me.
The book introduces this concept of quality.
Quality, okay.
Have you ever struggled to put your finger on what makes something truly good?
Yeah.
What is
good?
Good. What is that essence?
The essence of good.
Yes, what the narrator, Phaedrus, becomes obsessed with.
So it's not just motorcycles anymore. It's everything.
This idea of quality starts to seep into everything.
Everything, yeah.
And it gets kind of wild because he even starts to see rationality itself as a potential trap.
Interesting.
Our obsession with logic and reason.
Right.
He's maybe that's blinding us
to a deeper
understanding.
Okay.
It's he's saying there's more to knowledge
than what we can neatly categorize and explain.
Than what we can put in a box and label.
Yeah. That's a thought-provoking idea. It makes you wonder if sometimes our attempts to overanalyze everything are actually holding us back from a more intuitive or holistic way of knowing. What do you think, listener? Have you ever felt that way?
Have you?
Where logic just doesn't seem to...
Doesn't cut it.
Cut it, yeah. It really is, yeah.
And this whole questioning of rationality, he takes it into education.
Oh, into education.
He was a teacher.
He was.
And a rather unconventional one.
In what way?
Well, I've heard he had some pretty radical ideas about abolishing grades.
Abolishing grades, huh? Wow. That sounds like a recipe for
chaos.
Yeah, I mean, how do you even
But his point was that the traditional system, with its emphasis on grades and external validation, that can stifle the true joy of learning.
So it's
intrinsic versus
intrinsic or
extrinsic motivation.
Right.
Are you driven by passion or by the pursuit of rewards?
Exactly.
And Phaedrus argued that when we focus too much on the grades, we turn students into what he called Mules.
Oh, interesting.
Just chasing the carrot on the stick.
Facing the carrot.
He wanted to see them become free men.
Free men. So like individuals driven by genuine curiosity.
Yes.
By a love of knowledge for its own sake.
Not for the grade.
Right, exactly.
I know for me, when I'm learning something purely out of interest, like I'm so much more engaged.
Way more engaged.
The information sticks with me.
Absolutely.
When it's just about passing the test, it's like...
out the other ear.
Yeah, in one ear, out the other.
Totally.
What about you? What about you, listener?
What about you, listener?
What motivates you?
Is it the
passion?
The passion, or is it the promise of that A+?
That gold star.
Yeah.
That attaboy.
Yeah, attaboy, exactly.
So this whole thing about education...
It takes him on like this even wider intellectual journey. He starts like diving deep into philosophy, Kant.
Okay.
Interesting thing. Eastern thought.
Eastern thought, oh wow.
The Tao.
So we're going from motorcycle maintenance to the Tao.
It's quite a...
It's quite a...
reading list, right?
Quite a leap.
But what's so fascinating is that he starts to see these connections between all these seemingly disparate areas. He reads the Tao Te Ching, and he has this moment of like profound recognition. It's like he's finding this ancient...
universal truth
that resonates with his concept of quality.
His concept of quality. It's like...
it all comes back to...
Yeah, it's like it's all interconnected somehow.
Yeah. But you mentioned this, like intense search for understanding leads to a...
you have a breakdown for him.
Breakdown, right.
It's a dramatic moment in the book. And it's as if this realization about the nature of quality is so... overwhelming, so profound.
Yeah.
That it just shatters his
understanding,
the previous understanding of reality.
Wow.
And it raises this question for me.
What is it?
What happens when we truly grasped something so big, so fundamental?
Okay.
How do we even begin to integrate that into our everyday lives?
That's a big question. I'm thinking like,
right.
How do we bring this back down to...
back down to earth.
You know, how do we apply these big philosophical ideas?
Yeah, how do we make this practical?
To the practical challenges we face.
Yeah, exactly.
Day to day.
Day to day. Well, that's where I think the concepts of gumption comes in. And this is one of my favorite parts of the book.
Okay.
Phaedrus describes gumption as this vital energy.
Okay.
This enthusiasm that's essential for tackling any problem.
Like any problem.
Whether it's fixing a motorcycle or navigating a complex project at work.
So it's not just about skills and knowledge. It's about
having the right mindset. The right mindset that can do spirit.
To spirit.
Exactly. And what I find so helpful is that he lays out these specific gumption traps. Things that can sap our energy and lead to just frustration and giving up.
Like what?
Well, he gives these really vivid examples from the world of motorcycle maintenance.
Okay.
But I think they apply to just about anything.
I think we've all experienced those moments when you're staring at a problem for hours.
Yeah.
Tried every solution you can think of.
Hit a wall.
You're like, what? What else can I do?
You get discourred.
You just get
You lose that initial motivation.
Yeah, that initial gumption.
Gumption is...
it's gone.
Gone.
He calls that intermittent failure, I think.
Intermittent failure. Where you think you've got it. You know?
Right. You think you solved it.
And then the problem reappears. And that can really drain your gumption.
Yeah, it's like...
I'm not careful.
One step forward, two steps back.
Totally, yeah.
But these gumption traps, they're not just for mechanics. I mean, we encounter them.
Everywhere.
Have you ever felt stuck, listener?
Have you ever felt that?
Whether it's like writer's block.
Yeah, writer's block.
Some technical challenge at work.
Some roadblock in a project.
Yeah, or just
lost.
Lost in a project, yeah.
Yeah.
And Phaedrus, he offers this perspective on stuckness.
Oh, yeah.
That is kind of mind-blowing.
How so?
He says instead of seeing it as something to be avoided, we should embrace it.
Embrace being stuck.
Embrace being stuck.
No, that sounds counterintuitive.
It's like, wait, what? Most of us are like,
yeah, we just want to get unstuck.
Get me out of here.
Quickly as possible.
Yeah, but his point is that those moments of stuckness, they can really be valuable. Okay. He compares it to being on a train.
Being on a train.
You know, we often get so caught up in like frantically searching through the boxcars of our current knowledge.
Of what we already know.
That we forget about the engine. The engines. Of intuition.
Ooh, I love that analogy.
Right. It's like we need to step back from the problem.
Yeah.
Let go of those preconceived notions.
Let go of what we think we know.
And allow
that intuition
to guide us
to a new understanding.
And I think that's such a powerful message.
I agree.
For anyone who's ever felt
stuck, lost, frustrated.
Yeah, it's an invitation to see those moments not as failures, but as opportunities for growth.
For growth, yeah.
And for deeper insight.
Exactly.
And maybe that's the real key to maintaining our gumption. Learning to see challenges.
Not as roadblocks.
Not as roadblocks, but as
stepping stones.
Stepping stones on the path to mastery. Yeah.
That's great.
You know, we've talked about all these ideas from Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance.
Yeah.
I keep coming back to this whole quality thing, how it ties into like everything from fixing a motorcycle to understanding the world.
Yeah. It's a big concept.
It's so
a big idea.
Abstract, you know? It's hard to wrap my head around it.
It is a slippery concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's partly why it's so fascinating. Even Phaedrus himself, he struggles to like define it precisely.
Yeah.
But it seems like he's pointing to something beyond just functionality or aesthetics, you know?
Right.
It's more about this inherent sense of rightness, of things being in harmony.
Yeah.
That you can't even fully articulate.
Like you know it when you see it. But
you know when you see it, but you can't.
But how do you explain that?
Exactly.
And how does this idea of quality connect to technology?
Right.
You know, we've talked about motorcycle maintenance.
Right. Problem solving.
Solving, but technology is a whole other...
It does seem like a whole other beast. Right. And I think that's where the potential for conflict really arises.
Yeah.
Remember John and Sylvia?
Oh, yeah.
How they're so resistant.
They hate it.
They see it as this cold,
impersonal
force that's like
taking
over our lives.
When they're not wrong.
And in some ways, they're not wrong.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
When technology is not working the way it should.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
It's so frustrating. You're just like at the mercy of these machines we've created.
Total.
And I think that's where Phaedrus's emphasis on care comes in.
Care, yeah.
He says that when we approach technology with a sense of care, with an awareness of its impact on us, on the world around us, we can start to bridge that gap.
That gap between the technical and the...
Yeah, between the technical and the human.
The human, right.
So it's not about rejecting technology altogether. Right. It's about changing our...
relationship to it.
Relationship with it.
Yeah.
Like maybe even finding a way to see quality in technology.
I think that's the challenge, isn't it? To move beyond just seeing technology as a means to an end. And start appreciating the skill, the creativity, the human ingenuity.
It goes into it.
Yeah, that goes into making these tools.
It's like that part in the book when he's talking about, motorcycle maintenance. He talks about it with such reverence. Yeah.
Like he's connecting with something larger.
Larger than himself, yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And maybe that's it.
Maybe that's the key.
Finding that same...
sense of connection with...
technology.
Technology, yeah.
To see the beauty in a well-crafted piece of code or...
Right. To appreciate the elegance of a well-designed... interface, yeah.
To recognize the human effort...
the intention...
behind these machines. It's like bringing that mechanics feel...
Yeah, mechanics feel...
to the digital world.
The digital world.
That sense of intimacy, understanding that comes from like...
working on something at a deep
level.
Yeah.
And maybe that's how we start to bridge the gap between those.
Maybe so.
You know, the classic and romantic views of technology.
Finding that balance.
Yeah.
Between appreciating those technical details, but also understanding the broader human context.
Yeah.
And I think that's a message that really resonates today.
Yeah, it does.
In our increasingly technology-driven
world.
Yeah.
It really does. It's like the journey in Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance.
Right.
It's not just about fixing a motorcycle.
It's about fixing our relationship.
It's about fixing our relationship with the world around us.
With the world, exactly.
Including technology.
Beautifully put. And I think Phaedrus would, he'd agree with that.
I think so too.
This journey of understanding quality.
Yeah.
Of seeking that sense of harmony and rightness.
Yeah.
It extends way beyond
motorcycles and mechanics.
Motorcycles and mechanics. It's a way of life.
It is a way of being.
Yeah, a way of being in the world.
Wow. Well, this has been quite a deep dive.
It has.
We went from, classic versus romantic.
To the essence of quality.
To quality, to gumption, to
stuckness.
To stuckness. It's amazing. It's amazing how a philosophical novel about a motorcycle trip can spark so many thought-provoking ideas.
It really is a testament to the power of storytelling.
Yeah.
And the enduring relevance of these ideas.
For sure.
I think it leaves us with a lot to ponder.
It does.
How do you see quality manifesting in your own life, listener?
How do you approach technology?
What are your gumption traps?
Yeah, what are those gumption traps?
And most importantly, how can you cultivate a deeper sense of care?
In everything you do.
In everything you do.
That's a great point to end on.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance.
Absolutely.
It's been an incredible journey.
It has.
And we hope it's inspired you to continue exploring these ideas.
Yeah, keep seeking that quality.
Keep seeking that quality.
It's that gumption flowing.
Yeah, keep that gumption flowing.
And keep learning and growing.
Most importantly, keep learning and growing.
Yes.
Until next time.
恭喜你又听完了一本书，订阅以便不错过更多精彩节目，也别忘了分享给你的朋友，一起快乐听书学英语。